Opening. Hello, my lovely listeners. This is Luna, and welcome back to Luna's Romance Audiobooks, where sometimes the most dangerous deals lead to the greatest love stories. Today's tale is deliciously intense. It's about desperation meeting opportunity, about a deal that changes everything, and about a billionaire alpha who's used to getting exactly what he wants, until he meets the one woman who refuses to be bought. This is The Billionaire Alpha Makes Her a Deal She Can't Refuse. So settle in, maybe grab something refreshing, and let me tell you about a woman who thought she was making a business arrangement, and the alpha who had other plans entirely. Let's begin. Prologue, present day. I stared at the eviction notice in my trembling hands. 30 days. I had 30 days to come up with 3 months back rent plus penalties, or my mother and I would be on the street. Maya? My mother's weak voice came from the bedroom. Is everything all right? Everything's fine, Mom, I called back, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. Just some mail. I crumpled the notice and shoved it in my pocket before going to check on her. She looked so small in the bed, her once vibrant red hair now dull and thin from the chemotherapy. Stage 4, cancer. The doctors had given her 6 months. That was 8 months ago. She was a fighter, but fighters needed treatment, and treatment cost money I didn't have. Did you eat your breakfast? I asked, smoothing her blanket. Some of it. I'm not very hungry. Her green eyes, so like mine, studied my face. You look tired, sweetheart. Are you working too much? I'm fine, just busy. I kissed her forehead. Rest. I'll be back after my shift. 2 jobs, sometimes 3 when I could pick up extra hours, and still it wasn't enough. Medical bills piled up faster than I could pay them. Rent fell behind. Utilities threatened disconnection. I was drowning, and I didn't know how to save us. That evening I was waitressing at the Moonstone, an upscale restaurant where wolves with money came to see and be seen. My Omega status meant I'd never be more than service staff, but the tips were good when I smiled and stayed invisible. Table 12 needs attention, my manager said. VIP section, don't screw this up. I grabbed my notepad and headed to the private dining area, and stopped dead. The man at table 12 was devastating. Tall, powerfully built, with dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from granite. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw, and eyes the color of liquid mercury that tracked my movement with predatory intensity. An alpha. Not just any alpha. One who radiated power and wealth with every breath. Good evening, I said, proud my voice didn't shake. My name is Maya, and I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you with something to drink? Scotch. Macallan, 25. His voice was deep, commanding. Neat. Right away, sir. I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me. Wait. I turned back. Yes? He studied me with those unsettling mercury eyes. What's your name? Your full name? Maya Chen, sir. Chen. He said it like he was tasting it. You're Omega. It wasn't a question. Alphas could always tell. Yes, sir. How long have you worked here? The personal questions made me uncomfortable, but he was a VIP. I had to be polite. 6 months, sir. And before that? Various positions, retail mostly. Sir, I should get your drink. Sit down, Maya Chen. I can't. I'm working. I'll make it worth your while. Sit, please. The please surprised me. Alphas didn't usually bother with courtesy to Omegas. Reluctantly, I slid into the chair across from him. Do you know who I am? He asked. No, sir. Theron Knight, CEO of Knight Industries. My breath caught. Everyone knew Knight Industries. Tech empire. Billions in revenue. One of the most powerful companies in the country. It's an honor to serve you, Mr. Knight. I'm going to make you an offer, Maya Chen. He leaned forward, his scent, sandalwood and something darker, wrapping around me. And I suggest you consider it very carefully. An offer? I need a wife, temporarily. 6 months, perhaps a year. In exchange, I'll pay you $5 million. The world stopped. What? $5 million. All you have to do is marry me, play the devoted wife in public, and keep your mouth shut about the arrangement. His mercury eyes were intense. "What do you say? This is insane. You don't even know me." "I know enough. You're Omega, which means you'll defer to me in public without causing scenes. You're beautiful, which will satisfy my board's expectations. And you're desperate, which means you'll accept my terms." The casual way he said it stung. "I'm not desperate. Your mother has stage 4 cancer. You work 3 jobs to pay her medical bills. You're 3 months behind on rent. You filed for bankruptcy protection last year." He recited the facts without emotion. "You are, by definition, desperate." Humiliation burned through me. "You investigated me?" "I investigate everyone I do business with." He pulled out a card, sliding it across the table. "This is my private number. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, the offer expires." "Why me? If you need a wife, you could have anyone." "I don't want anyone. I want someone I can control. Someone with no connections, no power, nothing to leverage against me." His smile was cold. "Someone who will disappear when I'm done with her." The words hit like a slap. "I'm not some commodity you can buy. Everyone can be bought, Maya. It's just a matter of finding the right price." He stood, pulling out his wallet and dropping several $100 bills on the table. "For your time. And think about my offer. $5 million. Your mother's treatment fully covered. A comfortable life. All for 6 months of playing pretend." He left without another word. I stared at the card in my shaking hands. $5 million. My mother's treatment covered. 6 months. It was insane. Impossible. Wrong in every way. But as I picked up another eviction notice that had been slipped under my apartment door that night, as I listened to my mother cough weakly in the next room, as I calculated exactly how long I could keep us afloat, 2 weeks, maybe 3, I realized I didn't have a choice. I was going to take Theron Knight's deal, and pray I didn't lose myself in the process. Chapter 1. I called the number the next morning. He answered on the first ring. "Maya Chen, I've been expecting your call." "I'll do it," I said without preamble. "But I have conditions." "I'm listening." "My mother's treatment gets handled first. Before I sign anything, I want confirmation that her medical bills are paid and her treatment is secured." "Done. What else?" "After 6 months, you let me go. No strings, no complications." "Agreed." "And nobody can know about this. If word gets out that our marriage is fake, it won't. I have a vested interest in maintaining the illusion." His voice was matter of fact. "Meet me at my office today at 2. My lawyers will have the contracts ready. I work, call in sick. This is more important." He paused. "Maya, you're making the right choice." "I hope so." The Knight Industries building was a gleaming tower of glass and steel in the heart of the financial district. I felt incredibly out of place in my thrift store dress and worn shoes as I entered the marble lobby. "I'm here to see Mr. Knight," I told the receptionist. She looked me up and down with barely concealed disdain. "Do you have an appointment?" "He's expecting me, Maya Chen." Her expression changed immediately. "Of course, Ms. Chen. Top floor. His assistant will meet you." The elevator ride to the penthouse felt like ascending to another world. Theron's assistant, a sharp-eyed woman named Victoria, greeted me with professional courtesy. "Ms. Chen, Mr. Knight is expecting you. This way, please." His office was enormous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, expensive art on the walls, everything screaming wealth and power. Theron stood at the windows, hands in his pockets, looking every inch the billionaire alpha. "Maya, right on time." He turned, his mercury eyes assessing. "Coffee?" "No, thank you." "Straight to business, then." "I like that." He gestured to a conference table where 3 lawyers sat with stacks of documents. "These are the contracts. Read them carefully. My lawyers will answer any questions." I spent 2 hours reading every word. The contract was thorough, exhaustive, and overwhelmingly in Theron's favor. "This says I can't date anyone for a year after the divorce," I said. Correct. To maintain the illusion that our marriage was real. And I have to attend all social functions with you. As my wife should. And I can't speak to the media without your approval. Also correct. I set down the contract. This is very controlling. This is protecting my interests. And yours. He leaned back. Sign it, Maya. Or walk away. But if you walk, the offer doesn't come back. I thought about my mother, about the medical bills, about the eviction notice. I signed. All of them. Page after page after page. When it was done, Theron dismissed the lawyers and pulled out another document. Your mother's treatment is confirmed. Memorial Hospital, best oncology team in the country, all expenses covered. He slid it across. As promised. Relief crashed through me so intense I nearly cried. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me. You're earning it. He stood. The wedding is next week. We'll obtain a marriage license tomorrow. My team will handle everything else. Next week? That's so soon. I don't see the point in waiting, do you? No, I guess not. Good. Victoria will take you shopping. You'll need appropriate clothing for your new position. I have clothes. Not anymore. As my wife, you'll be photographed constantly. You need to look the part. His gaze swept over me. No offense, but thrift store dresses won't work. Humiliation burned through me again. I can't afford. I'm paying. Consider it part of the deal. He pulled out a black credit card, handing it to Victoria. Take her to Marcus at Bergdorf's. Full wardrobe. Shoes, jewelry, everything. Whatever she needs. Yes, sir. Wait. I stood. This is moving too fast. I need time to process. You have 6 days until the wedding. Process while shopping. His expression softened slightly. Maya, I know this is overwhelming, but you made your choice. Now we move forward. He was right. I had made my choice. Now I had to live with it. Shopping with Victoria was surreal. She took me to stores I'd only seen in magazines, places where a single dress cost more than my monthly rent. Mr. Knight wants you to look elegant, sophisticated, the perfect wife for a billionaire, Victoria explained. Nothing too flashy. Classic pieces. I tried on dozens of outfits, dresses, suits, casual wear, shoes that cost thousands of dollars, jewelry that made my eyes water. This is too much, I protested. This is exactly right for your new position. She held up a stunning emerald gown. Try this. It will bring out your eyes. By the end of the day, I had a wardrobe worth more than I'd make in 5 years of working 3 jobs. Thank you, I said to Victoria as we loaded everything into Theron's car. Just doing my job. She smiled slightly. For what it's worth, I think you'll be good for him. What do you mean? Mr. Knight is intense, driven. He doesn't let people close. But something about you, she shook her head. Never mind, not my place. That evening, Theron sent a car to take me to a penthouse apartment. Your new residence, the driver said. Mr. Knight thought you'd want to bring your mother here. It's fully accessible. The apartment was stunning. 3 bedrooms, modern kitchen, views of the park. And in the master bedroom, my mother sleeping peacefully in a hospital bed, a nurse watching over her. Mom? I rushed to her side. She opened her eyes, smiling weakly. Maya, what's happening? They moved me here. Said someone arranged it. It's complicated, but you're going to get better, Mom. The best doctors, the best treatment, everything you need. How? Sweetheart, we can't afford... Don't worry about that. Just focus on getting well. She squeezed my hand. Something's changed. What aren't you telling me? I couldn't tell her the truth. Couldn't admit I'd essentially sold myself to a billionaire. I got a new job. Very good pay. It's going to be okay, Mom. I promise. You're not doing anything dangerous. No, nothing dangerous. Just different. I kissed her forehead. Rest. I'll tell you everything when you're stronger. That night, Lying in the guest room of my new apartment, I stared at the ceiling and wondered what I'd gotten myself into. In 6 days, I'd marry a man I barely knew. A man who'd bought me like property. A man who looked at me with mercury eyes and saw nothing but a transaction. What could possibly go wrong? Chapter 2. The wedding was held at the courthouse. No guests, no fanfare. Just Theron, me, Victoria, and another assistant as witnesses, and a judge who looked bored throughout the entire 5-minute ceremony. Do you, Theron Alexander Knight, take Maya Chen to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. And do you, Maya Chen, take Theron Alexander Knight to be your lawfully wedded husband? I looked at Theron. He stood there in an expensive suit, expression unreadable, waiting for me to seal this devil's bargain. I do, I whispered. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Theron stepped forward. His hand cupped my face, the first time he'd touched me beyond a handshake, and he kissed me. It was supposed to be perfunctory, brief, meaningless. Instead, heat exploded through me. The mate bond I'd learned to ignore my entire life suddenly roared to life, recognizing something in him. No, impossible. We weren't mates. This was a business arrangement. But the bond didn't care about logic. Theron pulled back, and I saw something flicker in his mercury eyes. Surprise. Heat. He felt it too. Congratulations, the judge said, already shuffling his papers. You're now legally married. Outside the courthouse, photographers waited. Mr. Knight, is it true you just got married? Mr. Knight, who's the bride? Theron's arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me close. Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my wife, Maya Knight. We're very happy, and request privacy during this special time. He guided me to the waiting car, shielding me from the cameras. Once inside, he immediately released me, putting distance between us. That went well, he said coolly, all business again. The photographers, you knew they'd be there. Of course, I made sure of it. The announcement needed to be public. He pulled out his phone, already checking emails. Tonight, we have our first public appearance as a married couple. The Ashford Charity Gala. Victoria left your dress at the apartment. Tonight? We just got married. And now we play our parts. That was the deal, Maya. His mercury eyes met mine. Smile. Look happy. Act like you're madly in love with me. Can you do that? I'm not an actress. Then learn quickly. My reputation depends on it. The car pulled up to the apartment. Before I could get out, Theron's hand caught my wrist. Maya, about what happened at the courthouse. The kiss? It meant nothing. Physical chemistry is common between alphas and omegas. Don't read anything into it. The words stung more than they should. I wasn't planning to. Good. Keep things professional, and this arrangement will work perfectly. He released me and left without another word. The gala dress was stunning. A floor-length gown in deep burgundy that clung to my curves before flowing to the floor. Victoria had also left a team. Hair, makeup, jewelry. They transformed me into someone I barely recognized. You look beautiful, the makeup artist said. Mr. Knight is a lucky man. If only she knew the truth. Theron picked me up at 7, and I caught his reaction when he saw me. His eyes widened fractionally. His jaw tightened. His scent intensified. Sandalwood and something darker. Richer. You look acceptable, he said, his voice carefully neutral. Acceptable. Not beautiful. Not stunning. Acceptable. Thank you, I said, matching his cool tone. The gala was at a mansion in the Hamptons. Hundreds of guests, all dripping with wealth and power. I felt like an imposter in my borrowed finery. Stay close, Theron murmured as we entered. Smile. Touch me occasionally. My arm, my hand. Look at me like you adore me. How do I do that when I barely know you? Figure it out. You're being paid enough. His casual cruelty made my chest ache, but I pasted on a smile and played my part. Theron, congratulations. A silver-haired alpha approached. "I heard you'd married. This must be your bride." "Marcus, this is my wife, Maya. Darling, Marcus Ashford, our host tonight." "It's lovely to meet you," I said, extending my hand. Marcus kissed it, his eyes twinkling. "The pleasure is mine." "How did you two meet?" I froze. We hadn't discussed this. "At the Moonstone," Theron said smoothly, his arm sliding around my waist. "I went there for dinner, saw Maya serving tables, and I couldn't look away. I pursued her relentlessly until she agreed to a date. Love at first sight?" Marcus smiled. "How romantic." "Very," Theron agreed. "Wasn't it, darling?" His mercury eyes challenged me to contradict him. "It was unexpected," I said carefully. "But yes, sometimes you just know." "Indeed." Marcus studied us. "You make a striking couple. Though I must say, Theron, I never thought I'd see you settle down. The right woman changes everything." We circulated through the party, Theron introducing me to dozens of people, business partners, investors, society types who looked down their noses at the Omega, nobody who'd somehow landed a billionaire. "She's not from our circles," I heard someone whisper. "A waitress," I heard. "He must have gotten her pregnant." "No, she trapped him somehow. Poor Theron." Each whispered comment was a tiny knife, but I kept smiling, kept playing the devoted wife, until I couldn't anymore. "I need air," I said to Theron. "We can't leave yet. I need air." My voice was tight. He studied me, then nodded. "The terrace. 5 minutes." I fled to the outdoor terrace, gulping in deep breaths. This was a mistake. I couldn't do this. Couldn't pretend to be someone I wasn't. Couldn't stand the whispers and judgment. "They're not worth your tears." I turned to find Theron watching me. "I'm not crying." "You're about to." He handed me a champagne flute. "Drink this. It'll help." "I don't drink." "Tonight you do. Doctor's orders." At my look, he added, "I'm not a doctor, but drink anyway." I took a sip. The bubbles tickled my nose. "I can't do this," I whispered. "Be someone I'm not. Endure those whispers. You can. And you will. Because the alternative is your mother losing her treatment. Is that what you want?" The harsh reminder steadied me. "No." "Then hold your head high. You're my wife now. That makes you more important than any of those gossiping fools." His hand cupped my face, tilting it up. "You belong here, Maya. Because I say you do. Remember that. Why do you care if they accept me?" "Because their acceptance reflects on me. And I don't accept failure." Of course, it was always about him. "I should get back inside. Wait." His thumb brushed my cheek. "You really do look beautiful tonight. I should have said that earlier." The compliment caught me off guard. "Thank you. And Maya, whatever you hear them say, ignore it. You're here because I want you here. That's the only opinion that matters." He left before I could respond. I stood on the terrace, champagne in hand, wondering if Theron Knight was more than just a cold billionaire, and whether that made this arrangement more dangerous than I'd realized. Chapter 3. The first month of marriage was a blur of public appearances, charity galas, business dinners, society events where I smiled until my face hurt and pretended to be madly in love with my husband. At home, we lived separate lives. Theron worked constantly, leaving early, coming home late. When he was there, he was polite but distant. We hadn't shared a bed since the wedding. He'd taken the master suite. I stayed in the guest room. It was exactly what I'd agreed to. A business arrangement, nothing more. So why did it hurt every time he looked through me like furniture? My mother's treatment was progressing well. The doctors were optimistic about remission. That's what mattered. Not my foolish heart that ached every time Theron smiled at me in public, then ignored me in private. "You seem distracted." I looked up to find Theron standing in the doorway of my room. Our apartment had become a shared space after the wedding. though we rarely occupied it at the same time. Just thinking about my mother's treatment. Her scan results come back tomorrow. I know, I've been monitoring her progress. At my surprised look, he added, "Part of our agreement. I ensure her treatment continues." "Right, of course." He studied me with those unreadable mercury eyes. "We have the Carrington wedding this weekend. Black tie. Victoria will arrange your dress." "Another performance?" "It's not a performance if you're actually my wife." "Legally, yes. In reality, we're whatever we need to be for the audience." He moved closer. "Speaking of which, we need to work on your public affection." "My what?" "You're too stiff when I touch you, too obviously uncomfortable. People are noticing." "I'm doing my best." "Your best isn't good enough. We need to appear naturally affectionate, or people will question the validity of our marriage. Then maybe you should have married an actress instead of a waitress." The words came out sharper than intended. Theron's eyes flashed. "Careful, Maya. I'm paying you very well to play this role. Don't make me regret it." "Is that a threat?" "It's a reminder. You have a job to do. Do it properly." He left, and I fought the urge to throw something at the door. This was impossible. How was I supposed to pretend to love a man who treated me like an employee? The next day, my mother's scan results came back clear. Complete remission. I sobbed with relief in the hospital hallway, calling Theron immediately. "She's in remission," I said when he answered. "The cancer, it's gone. The treatment worked." "That's excellent news. I'll have the care team prepare a transition plan for ongoing monitoring." "Thank you, Theron. I can't. Thank you doesn't seem enough. You're fulfilling your end of the bargain. No thanks necessary." A pause. "I'm glad your mother is well, Maya. Truly." The genuine warmth in his voice made my chest ache. "Are you busy tonight? I was thinking maybe we could celebrate. Have dinner together." "I have meetings until late. Perhaps another time." Click. He was gone. I stared at the phone, fighting disappointment I had no right to feel. This was a business arrangement. Nothing more. But that night I came home to find Theron in the kitchen. An event so rare I actually stopped in the doorway. "You cook?" I asked. "Occasionally, when the mood strikes." He gestured to the table set for two. "I thought we could celebrate your mother's remission. Properly." My breath caught. "You didn't have to. I wanted to. Sit." The meal was simple, but delicious, and for the first time since our wedding, we talked. Really talked. About my childhood, his business, my dreams before everything fell apart, his plans for Night Industry's future. "Why did you really need a wife?" I asked over dessert. "My board was concerned about my image. Unmarried billionaire approaching 40. They worried I was unfocused, unstable." His smile was bitter. "A wife proves I can commit, that I'm serious about the company's future." "So you bought one?" "I entered a mutually beneficial arrangement with one." His mercury eyes met mine. "Don't pretend you're a victim, Maya. You got exactly what you needed." "And what did you get?" "Control, stability, an end to my board's meddling." He leaned back. "And maybe company that doesn't bore me to death." "I'm flattered," I said dryly. "You should be. I don't suffer fools, and I haven't fired you yet." Despite myself, I smiled. High praise from Theron Knight. The highest. He stood, clearing plates. "Thank you for tonight." "For what? You cooked?" "For the conversation. For not being like—" He stopped. "Like what?" "Never mind." He headed to his room. "Good night, Maya." "Good night?" I lay in bed that night wondering about Theron Knight. The cold billionaire who'd bought a wife, but who also monitored my mother's treatment personally. Who cooked dinner to celebrate good news. Who admitted he enjoyed my company. Maybe there was more to him than I'd thought. And maybe that made this arrangement even more dangerous to my heart. Chapter 4. 3 months into the arrangement, things shifted. Theron started coming home earlier, joining me for dinner regularly, actually talking instead of just issuing instructions. "Tell me about your day," he'd say. "Not very interesting. Visited my mom, read, went shopping with Victoria. What did you read?" And we'd discuss books, art, philosophy, everything and nothing. I found myself looking forward to these evenings, to his dry wit and sharp intelligence, to the rare smiles that transformed his face. The public appearances became easier too, because the affection we displayed wasn't entirely fake anymore. When Theron's hand settled on my waist, I leaned into him naturally. When he smiled at me across crowded rooms, I smiled back genuinely. When he kissed me for the cameras, it felt less like performance and more like something else, something dangerous. "You're getting good at this," Theron observed one evening after a particularly successful charity gala. "Practice makes perfect. Or maybe it's not practice anymore." His mercury eyes were intense. "Maybe it's become real." My breath caught. "Theron, don't say it's just for show. I can feel the bond, Maya. The mate bond. It's been there since our wedding." "That's impossible. Mate bonds don't form in arranged marriages." "They do when the goddess wills it." He moved closer. "I've been trying to ignore it. Trying to keep this professional. But I can't anymore." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want this to be real. Want you to be my wife in truth, not just on paper." His hand cupped my face. "I'm saying I'm falling for you, Maya Chen, and I think you feel it too." I did. God help me, I did. This wasn't part of the deal. Fuck the deal. I want more than a business arrangement. I want you. He kissed me then, not for cameras, not for show, just for us. And I kissed him back, 5 months of denied attraction exploding between us. When we pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. "Say yes," Theron whispered. "Say you want this too." "I do, but what? What happens when the 6 months are up? When the contract ends?" "We tear up the contract. Make this real." His forehead rested against mine. "Stay with me, Maya. Not because I'm paying you, because you want to." Looking into his mercury eyes, seeing vulnerability I'd never seen before, I made my choice. "Yes." He swept me into his arms, carrying me to his bedroom. Our bedroom now, and showed me exactly how real this could be. The next morning, I woke wrapped in Theron's arms, the mate bond singing between us. "Good morning, wife," he murmured against my hair. "Good morning, husband." "How do you feel?" "Happy, terrified, confused." I looked up at him. "Is this really happening?" "Very much so." He kissed me softly. "I'm tearing up your contract today. You're not my employee anymore, Maya. You're my mate. The board can deal with it. This stopped being about appearances the moment I met you." His eyes were fierce. "You're mine now. Truly mine. And I'm yours." "I love you," I whispered. "I love you too. Took me long enough to admit it." He pulled me closer. "Marry me again, properly this time. With your mother there. With meaning instead of calculation." "We're already married. Then marry me anyway. Let me do it right." How could I say no to that? The second wedding was everything the first wasn't. My mother, healthy and beaming, walked me down the aisle. Theron's family, including a sister I hadn't known about, attended. Friends, colleagues, people who genuinely cared. And when Theron said "I do" this time, his eyes were full of love instead of calculation. "I love you," he said during our vows. "You turned a deal into destiny, a business arrangement into the love of my life. Thank you for seeing past the billionaire to the man beneath." I was crying too hard to respond properly, but I managed. "I love you too. Thank you for making me a deal I couldn't refuse, and then giving me everything I never knew I needed." Our kiss was met with applause and cheers, and as we walked back down the aisle, hand in hand, I marveled at how my life had changed. 6 months ago, I was a desperate Omega with impossible choices. Now I was married to a billionaire alpha who loved me. The deal we'd made had changed both our lives, and I'd never been more grateful for a bargain I'd thought I couldn't refuse. 2 years later, I stood in the nursery, rocking our 6-month-old daughter Lily while watching Theron assemble yet another toy through the baby monitor. "You spoil her," I called through the intercom. "She's perfect. Perfect babies deserve spoiling," he called back. Our journey from business arrangement to genuine love had been unexpected. Beautiful. Perfect. The $5 million sat untouched in an account. Theron's wedding gift, though I'd told him I didn't need it anymore. Keep it. Start that charity you've been dreaming about. Help other Omegas in desperate situations. So I had. The Maya Knight Foundation for Omega Support provided medical care, job training, and emergency assistance to Omegas in crisis. Every Omega I helped was another deal they didn't have to make out of desperation. "Come here," Theron said, appearing in the nursery doorway. I settled Lily in her crib and went to him. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Everything's perfect. I just wanted to hold you." His arms wrapped around me. "Do you ever regret it? Taking my deal?" "Never." "Do you regret making it?" "Only that I didn't make it sooner. That I didn't find you years ago. We found each other exactly when we were supposed to." I looked up at him. "And I got so much more than $5 million. What did you get?" "A husband who loves me, a family, a purpose." I touched his face. "Everything." He kissed me deeply. "I'm the one who got everything. A wife, a daughter, a real family instead of a business arrangement." "The best deal you ever made?" "Without question." His mercury eyes were warm. "Though technically you made the deal. I just proposed the terms. And I'm so glad I accepted." Lily stirred in her crib, making soft baby sounds. Theron immediately went to her, lifting her gently. "Hello, princess. Did we wake you?" Watching him with our daughter, so tender, so loving, I fell in love with him all over again. "What are you thinking?" he asked, catching my expression. "That the cold billionaire who made me an offer in that restaurant doesn't exist anymore." He never really existed. He was just afraid to feel. Theron settled Lily against his shoulder. "You taught me it was safe to love. And you taught me my worth wasn't tied to desperation. Your worth was always infinite. You just needed someone to show you." We stood together in the nursery, our daughter between us, and I marveled at how far we'd come. From a desperate deal to desperate love. From pretending to be married to actually building a life together. From strangers to soulmates. "Thank you," I whispered. "For what?" "For making me a deal I couldn't refuse." "Thank you for accepting it." He kissed me softly. "Best business decision I ever made." It stopped being business pretty quickly. The moment I saw you, if I'm honest. His smile was warm. "I just needed time to admit it. You're admitting a lot of things lately. Love makes you honest." He shifted Lily to one arm so he could pull me close with the other. "I love you, Maya Knight. My wife, my mate, my everything. I love you, too. Forever." As we stood together, our family complete, I sent up a silent prayer of gratitude for the desperation that had led me to that restaurant, for the billionaire alpha who'd made an outrageous offer, for the courage to accept it, and for the love that had grown from such unlikely beginnings. Sometimes the deals we can't refuse turn out to be the greatest blessings of our lives. I was living proof. Chapter 5. 5 years after the deal, the Knight Foundation Gala was in full swing, our biggest fundraiser yet, with over 1,000 guests and millions of dollars pledged to help Omegas in crisis. "Look at what you've built," Theron said, pulling me close as we watched the donation counter climb higher. 5 years ago, you were serving tables. Now you're changing lives." "We're changing lives," I corrected. "This wouldn't exist without your support." "I just provided capital. You provided vision, heart, everything that matters." Lily, now 5 years old, tugged on my dress. "Mama, when can we go home?" My feet hurt. I looked down at our daughter in her princess dress and heels she'd insisted on wearing. "Soon, sweetheart. Just a little longer." "Want me to take her to the lounge?" Theron offered. "Let her rest while you finish here?" "You don't mind?" "Spending time with my favorite girl? Never." He scooped Lily up. "Come on, princess. Let's find some cookies." "Daddy, you're not supposed to give me sugar before bed. What Mama doesn't know won't hurt her." "I can hear you," I called after them. Their laughter made my heart full. An Omega approached me hesitantly. "Luna Knight? I'm Sarah. I wanted to thank you." "What for?" "6 months ago, I was where you were. Desperate. Drowning in medical bills for my sick son. The foundation paid for his treatment. He's in remission now." Tears filled her eyes. "You saved his life. You saved mine." I hugged her, my own eyes wet. "I'm so glad we could help." "How did you do it? Build all this from nothing?" "I had help, and I had motivation. I remembered what it felt like to be desperate, to have nowhere to turn." I smiled. "And I married someone who believed in me. The Alpha King. Everyone knows your story. The whirlwind romance, the surprise wedding. It's like a fairy tale. If only she knew the whole truth." "It wasn't always easy," I said carefully. "But we made it work. Love has a way of finding you when you least expect it." After Sarah left, Victoria appeared at my elbow. "The final count is in. You've raised $20 million tonight." $20 million? I could barely comprehend it. 20 million. Enough to help thousands of Omegas over the next year. Victoria smiled. "You should be proud, Maya. You've come so far." I found Theron in the lounge, Lily asleep in his arms, cookie crumbs on her dress. "She made it exactly 5 minutes before passing out," he said softly. "You gave her sugar, didn't you?" "Just a little. Maybe a lot. She's very persuasive." He stood carefully, keeping Lily comfortable. "Ready to go home?" "More than ready." In the car, with Lily buckled safely in her seat and Theron's hand in mine, I reflected on the past 5 years. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked quietly. "Making that deal? Changing your whole life?" "Never. Not once." His mercury eyes were warm in the dim light. "That deal brought me everything I didn't know I needed. You, Lily, a real family. Actual happiness instead of just success. Your board must be pleased. The stock price has tripled since we married." "Because I'm happy, focused, not angry at the world anymore." He brought my hand to his lips. "You made me better, Maya. In every way that matters. You made me believe I deserved better. That I wasn't just a desperate Omega with no options. You were never just anything. You were always extraordinary. You just needed someone to see it." At home, Theron carried Lily to her room while I changed into comfortable clothes. When he returned, he pulled me into his arms. "I have something for you." "It's not my birthday." "I don't need a reason to give my wife gifts." He handed me a small box. Inside was a key. "What's this?" "The building on 5th Avenue, the one you've been eyeing for the Foundation's new headquarters." His smile was soft. "It's yours. Renovations start next month. Theron, that building is worth less than your worth, less than what you've built, less than what you mean to me." He pulled me closer. "I love you, Maya. Let me spoil you occasionally. You spoil me constantly. Not enough. Never enough." He kissed me deeply. "You gave up everything to take my deal. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it." I could never regret it. That deal gave me everything. It gave me everything, too. We stood together in our home, our daughter sleeping peacefully down the hall, our love solid and real. "Thank you," I whispered. "For what?" "For being arrogant enough to think you could buy a wife, and humble enough to actually fall in love with her." He laughed. When you put it that way, I sound like an idiot. You were, but you're my idiot now. Forever, he agreed. Forever. Chapter 6. 7 years after the deal, the twins were born on a Tuesday. I'd been planning to work a full day at the foundation. We had a major grant application due, but the twins had other ideas. Theron, I said calmly, though panic was definitely setting in. My water just broke. He dropped his coffee mug. It shattered on the marble floor. Now? But you're not due for 2 more weeks. Tell that to the babies. I gripped the counter. We need to go, now. Right, yes, hospital. He pulled out his phone. I'll call the driver. There's no time, you're driving. I can't drive, I'm too nervous. Theron, drive, now. He drove, badly, but we made it to the hospital in one piece. 7 hours later, our sons were born. 2 boys, the doctor announced. Congratulations. Theron stood between them, one hand on each incubator, tears streaming down his face. They're perfect, he whispered. Maya, they're perfect. I know, we made them. We made them, he echoed in wonder. Lily, now 7, was thrilled to be a big sister. Can I hold them? Please, please, please? Gently, I instructed as she carefully held first one twin, then the other. I'm going to teach them everything, she declared. How to read, how to play, how to get extra cookies from Daddy. That last one they don't need to learn, Theron said, but he was grinning. We named them Alexander and Sebastian, strong names for what I knew would be strong boys. 3 children, Theron said that night as we watched them sleep in the nursery. Our family is complete. Unless you want more? 3 is perfect, though I'd have a dozen with you if you wanted. 3 is plenty. I leaned against him. Remember when this was all just a business deal? When we barely knew each other? I try not to remember. That version of me was an idiot. That version of you made a deal that changed both our lives. True. He pulled me closer. Best gamble I ever took. It wasn't a gamble. You investigated me thoroughly. You knew exactly what you were getting. I knew your circumstances. I didn't know you'd steal my heart. His kiss was soft. I didn't know I'd fall so completely in love that I couldn't imagine life without you. Good thing you don't have to. Very good thing. The years passed in a blur of joy. Lily grew into a confident, brilliant girl who wanted to take over Night Industries someday. Or maybe the foundation, she'd say. I haven't decided yet. Can I run both? You can do anything you set your mind to, Theron told her. The twins were handfuls, energetic, mischievous, constantly getting into trouble. They're definitely yours, I told Theron after finding them covered in paint they'd borrowed from the art room. They're perfect angels who happen to be creatively inclined. They painted the cat. The cat looks very artistic. My mother lived with us now, healthy and happy, spoiling her grandchildren shamelessly. You found a good one, she told me often. I was worried when you said you were getting married so suddenly. But Theron, he loves you with his whole heart. I love him too. More every day. The foundation grew beyond anything I'd imagined. 15 centers across the country. Thousands of Omegas helped every year. Lives changed. Families saved. All because a desperate Omega had accepted a billionaire's deal. One evening, Theron found me in my office at home, staring at an old photograph. What's that? The eviction notice, from 10 years ago. The one that started everything. I looked up at him. I kept it, to remind me where I came from. You came from strength, from love for your mother, from courage to do whatever it took. He sat beside me. That's not something to overcome, Maya. That's something to be proud of. I am proud. Of surviving. Of building something from nothing. Of having the courage to say yes to your insane proposal. It wasn't insane. It was brilliant. His smile was warm. I got exactly what I needed. A wife to satisfy your board? No, though that was a nice side benefit. He pulled me into his lap. I got you, the love of my life, my best friend, my partner in everything. You got all that for $5 million. Not a bad investment. I'd have paid 50 million, 100, whatever it took. His eyes were serious. You're priceless, Maya. Always were. I just recognized it faster than you did. You saw potential where I saw desperation. I saw strength where you saw weakness. Love where you saw transaction. A future where you saw survival. He kissed me softly. And I was right. Look at what we built. I looked around our home, heard our children's laughter from upstairs, felt my mother's presence in the kitchen, baking cookies, saw the life we'd created together. We built everything, I agreed, and we're just getting started. Epilogue. 10 years after the deal, the anniversary party was Theron's idea. 10 years since you walked into the Moonstone and changed my life. We should celebrate. You walked into the Moonstone. I was just working. Semantics. The point is, it's been 10 incredible years. Let me throw you a party. So he did. A massive celebration at our estate. Friends, family, foundation supporters. Everyone who'd been part of our journey. Speech! Someone called out. Theron stood, pulling me up with him. 10 years ago, I made a business deal. I needed a wife for appearance's sake. I found Maya Chen, a struggling Omega working 3 jobs to save her mother. He looked at me, his mercury eyes warm. I thought I was buying 6 months of her time. What I got was a lifetime of love. The crowd applauded. Maya, you took a desperate gamble on a controlling billionaire who didn't know how to feel. You taught me that love isn't a transaction. That partnership isn't about control. That family is everything I'd been missing. His voice grew thick. You saved me in ways I didn't know I needed saving. Thank you. I was crying. Of course I was crying. My turn, I said, wiping my eyes. 10 years ago I was desperate, drowning, out of options. A man offered me $5 million to be his wife for 6 months. It seemed like a devil's bargain, a deal I'd regret. I smiled at Theron. Instead, it was the best decision I ever made. That deal gave me everything: a husband who loves me, 3 beautiful children, a mother in remission, a foundation that changes lives. But most importantly, it taught me that sometimes the deals we can't refuse are actually blessings in disguise. More applause. Thank you, Theron Knight, for making me an offer I couldn't refuse, and then giving me so much more than we bargained for. He pulled me into his arms and kissed me, not caring about the audience. Later, when the party had ended and our children were asleep, we sat together in the library. Any regrets? Theron asked, pulling me close. None. You. Only that I didn't find you sooner. That we wasted any time at all not being together. We found each other exactly when we were supposed to. True. He kissed the top of my head. Though I do regret one thing. What? That original contract. $5 million. 6 months. His smile was rueful. I vastly undervalued what you were worth, and drastically underestimated how long I'd need you. How long do you need me? Forever, and it still won't be long enough. Good thing I signed a new contract then. What contract? The marriage one. The real one. The till death do us part one. I kissed him softly. You're stuck with me, Theron Knight. No buyout clause, no escape hatch, just love. Forever. Best deal I ever made, he murmured against my lips. The only deal that mattered. We sat together in comfortable silence, watching the fire, wrapped in each other. 10 years since a desperate Omega accepted a billionaire's offer. 10 years since a business arrangement became true love. 10 years since Theron Knight made me a deal I couldn't refuse, and gave me absolutely everything in return. Closing. And there we have it, my lovely listeners. Maya and Theron's journey from desperate deal to desperate love. Sometimes the most transactional beginnings lead to the most genuine love stories. Sometimes what starts as a business arrangement becomes something far more precious. Maya thought she was selling 6 months of her life for $5 million. What she actually did was bet on herself, on her worth, on her ability to survive, on her courage to take a risk. And Theron thought he was buying a wife to satisfy his board. What he actually did was find his soulmate, the woman who'd teach him that love isn't about control, it's about partnership. Their story reminds us that sometimes we have to make impossible choices, take desperate gambles, accept deals that seem too good to be true, because sometimes those deals change everything. Sometimes the offers we can't refuse are actually the blessings we didn't know we needed. If you loved Maya and Theron's story, please hit that like button and leave a comment. What was your favorite moment? The first meeting? The real wedding? That beautiful epilogue with their 3 children? I want to hear from you. And here's a tantalizing preview of our next tale. The Alpha King's Chi Yue wife. 3 years of marriage, he never knew she was his fated mate. Oh yes, darlings. We're diving into hidden identity romance with a twist that'll make your heart race. What happens when the contract wife he's ignored for years is actually his destined mate? Until then, this is Luna, reminding you that sometimes the deals we can't refuse are actually destiny in disguise. Trust the journey, take the risk, accept the deal. You never know what blessings might be waiting on the other side. Sweet dreams and deal-making love, my darlings.